Chapter 15. On selecting a woman. Show me the woman he sleeps with, and I will tell you his valuation of himself. No matter what corruption he's taught about the virtue of selflessness, sex is the most profoundly selfish of all acts, an act which he cannot perform for any motive but his own enjoyment. Just try to think of performing it in a spirit of selfless charity. An act which is not possible in self-abasement, only in self-exaltation, only in the confidence of being desired and being worthy of desire. It is an act that forces him to stand naked in spirit as well as in body, and to accept his real ego as his standard of value. He will always be attracted to the woman who reflects his deepest vision of himself, the woman whose surrender permits him to experience, or to fake, a sense of self-esteem. The man who is proudly certain of his own value will want the highest type of woman he can find, the woman he admires, the strongest, the hardest to conquer, because only the possession of a heroine will give him the sense of an achievement, not the possession of a brainless slut. I have formatted this section into a checklist that you can use to evaluate any woman on key points that are important for a valuable long-term relationship. What are her top 10 values versus what are your top 10 values? Do you share the same values? Happiness is living your values. If you have a mismatch of values, happiness will be difficult to achieve long-term. Do her virtues match your virtues in kind and magnitude? If you are opposites, maybe you have different virtues. In that case, are her virtues equal opposites to yours? Virtues are the intrinsic good in a woman. Vices are the opposites of virtues. Choose a woman with virtue and value besides her body and sex. You can get sex and a hot body anywhere, but virtue is hard to find in today's unvirtuous world. Do you have compatible beliefs on money, sex, religion, and politics? These are usually explosive topics that can create serious friction if they are not compatible. When you do have sex with her, how good is the sex? Good? Great? Best? Is it epic sex that you will talk about in the old folks' home after you have lost your mind and can only remember the epic sex you used to have? If you haven't had sex with her, will you ever get to know before you marry her? We live in a try before you buy culture today, and sex is important. Know what you are getting into. Note: the women that I have had the best sex with were bad choices for long-term partners. You certainly don't want to base your decision on sex alone, but 8 out of 10 sex minimum is where you want to be. Women who give you 11 out of 10 sex are dangerous, and you are playing with fire. Just like the hot crazy Matrix, 11 out of 10 sex is in the danger zone. Have you met her mother? Do you think her mother is attractive? She will look exactly like her mother in 20 to 30 years. Are you okay with that? Do you make more money than her? Having your woman making more money than you will be a constant source of friction in your relationship, and she will emasculate you and beat on you if that problem persists. If she earns more, can you increase your earnings? You might need to go for a woman who makes less money because women biologically hate making more money than their men. I think this is a real factor that people try to deny in today's world. Make more money than your woman, or you will be emasculated. Does she push and inspire you to do better in your purpose? A woman of higher value will push you towards your own higher value and make you into the best version of yourself. A woman of lower value will drag you down to her level. Aim for a woman of higher value to push you towards optimal greatness. Are you older than she is? Statistics show that men have great success staying married to a woman no more than 9 years younger, and women have success in staying married as long as their man is no more than 2 years younger. Obey these rules for the lowest chances of a divorce. Couples of the same age have the lowest chance of divorce. Do you connect in the 4 parts of being a human? Mind, body, spirit, emotions? Can you live with her weaknesses? No one is perfect. Embracing the weaknesses of another person is a huge part of any successful relationship, whether in love or business? If you want children, does she have the ability and affinity to be a mother? Is she the appropriate age to bear children if you want them? What is her education level? Your children's education typically will not surpass the mother's education level. If she is uneducated, so will your children be. If she is highly educated, so will your children become. What are your values on education? Young women offer you a special energy. In general, youth in a woman bespeaks radiant, unobstructed, and refreshing feminine energy. A young woman tends to be less compromised by masculine layers of functional protection built up over years of need. Traditionally, young women were understood to offer a man a particularly rejuvenative quality of energy. Older women may maintain or even increase the freshness and radiance of their energy, but it is rare. If she already has children, are you willing to take on her children and be a stepdad? Personally, I will not take on anyone's children unless 1. It turns out I'm infertile, or 2. Perhaps I would consider a highly virtuous and faithful widow with children. Women who have children from divorce or other relational problems are disqualified for me. They couldn't hold it together with the other guy, so how are they going to be different for you? Can you deal with other people thinking you are a cuck for looking after her kids? It's a noble idea to look after someone else's kids, but nice guys finish last. Allow older women their magic. Men should support older women in their wisdom, power, and intuitive and healing capacities. Men should not degrade older women by demanding or desiring them to be like young women. There should be no such comparison. Each age of woman has its own value, and the transition from superficial shine to deep radiance is inevitable. Does she have the ability to complement you and offset your weaknesses and downfalls? Is there evidence that she is a strong woman with an ability to be loyal and stick through hard times? Will she abandon you if things get hard? If she has divorced parents, divorce is an option in her mind. If mom and dad are still together in her family, divorce does not exist in her mind, and she is more likely to work it out with you rather than jump straight to a divorce. Does she have a high degree of pedigree? Was she well bred? Who are her parents? Are they drunk losers beating each other up in a dark alley somewhere? Or are they reasonable people who have raised a good daughter? Does she even know who her parents are? This is a major question in the modern world. A lot of men and women don't know one or either parent well. Does she have a relatively similar background and upbringing as you? This is important because it determines what is normal for her and normal for you. People always revert back to whatever they think is normal. If she came from a house with yelling, screaming, beatings, and drinking, she will want to recreate the normal in your home. If she came from a nice family that was civil and loving, she will bring that normality into your home. What is normal for her? Does it match your normal? Does she remind you of your mother? Men are always trying to marry their mothers because your mother represents the original and perfect woman in your mind. Mother was first. Mother is the perfect archetype. Does she match your idea of mom? Does she have a history of relatively low emotional pain or trauma and a low number of sexual partners? The more pain and trauma a woman must deal with, the more damage and baggage you must deal with. A long history of sexual partners also brings much more damage to the table. Do you want to be dealing with damage control all day? Or would you rather work with a clean slate? The million-dollar question: are we really meant to be with one woman forever? Does marriage really make sense in today's world? Are we really meant to be with one woman forever? This is a tough question to answer. As a man, you will always want more than one woman. That is the nature of being a man. There are 4 parts to a human being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I think that when you consider staying with one woman forever, it violates our animal urges in the physical, mental, and emotional realms. If we let those parts of us decide how to live our lives, then we will want and act on having multiple women. However, I believe the true benefits and value from having a deep relationship with one woman over time feed the needs of the spirit and the soul. Going deep with one woman is what will enrich your life. On the secular side, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill suggests that much of man's power comes from the power of love for his woman, not his harem. Marriages, not blessed with the eternal affinity of love, properly balanced and proportioned with sex, cannot be happy ones, and seldom endure. Love alone will not bring happiness in marriage, nor will sex alone. When these two beautiful emotions are blended, marriage may bring about a state of mind closest to the spiritual that one may ever know on this earthly plane. When the emotion of romance is added to those of love and sex, the obstructions between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence are removed. The least successful times, the times of loss, the times of confusion, the times of stagnant or going backwards in my life came from times of multiple women and multiple girlfriends. You can live your life any way you want. You must choose what is most important in your life, your purpose or your pleasure. To say I love you, one must know first how to say the I. Perhaps try both and decide for yourself. Just like touching a hot stove to know that it burns, to learn firsthand is sometimes best. You decide, it's up to you. Love is blind, they say. Sex is impervious to reason and mocks the power of all philosophers. But, in fact, a person's sexual choice is the result and sum of their fundamental convictions. Tell me what a person finds sexually attractive, and I will tell you their entire philosophy of life. Show me the person they sleep with, and I will tell you their valuation of themselves. No matter what corruption they're taught about the virtue of selflessness, sex is the most profoundly selfish of all acts, an act which they cannot perform for any motive but their own enjoyment. Just try to think of performing it in a spirit of selfless charity, an act which is not possible in self-abasement, only in self-exaltation, only on the confidence of being desired and being worthy of desire. It is an act that forces them to stand naked in spirit as well as in body and accept their real ego as their standard of value. They will always be attracted to the person who reflects their deepest vision of themselves, the person whose surrender permits them to experience, or to fake, a sense of self-esteem. Love is our response to our highest values, and can be nothing else.